All right, we're going to return to that breaking news in the Bronx where a part of a building has collapsed, an apartment building. This happened in the Morris Heights section. Joining us right now is former Deputy Chief of the FDNY, Jim Bullock. Jim, thanks for joining us. Have you had a chance to see the scene at this point?
I just seen the pictures of the front, you know, where the corner of the building
Yes.
down, and it looks like the building is occupied by the air conditions, and I could see some furniture in the open apartments where it came down.
What do you make of what you see? I know it's too early to determine what caused this, but you probably have a lot of experience with building collapses in your time with the FDNY. What do you make when you see a picture like this?
It certainly looks like something maybe was undermined at the bottom, that, you know, maybe from the rain last night, and that's why it only took out a corner.
Interesting.
You know,
interesting.
But that's only from what I can see now.
Yeah.
I mean, right now they're going in and finding out, making sure all the occupants are out and stuff like that.
So, Jim, how will they go ahead and do that, considering the very fragile state of what appears this building is going through right now? How is it that first responders will evacuate that building and search the building to see if there's anyone to evacuate?
Yeah, well, all that went on already, I'm sure, but they did it very carefully. From the building looks pretty sturdy right now, because everything that was going to collapse initially did, and now the other part of the building, you have a whole wing that's totally intact, and then you just have the windows with the fire escape. So they'll go in and get everybody out. That's why the towel ladders are there now, if the picture I'm seeing is live. And if anybody had to get out through the window and stuff like that, they will. Matter of fact, there's somebody, a fireman, looking over the bucket, looking down at the wreckage, seeing if there's anybody that came down. There could have been somebody in those rooms when it all came down, and they'll be in that pile.
So far, we're hearing
they're going to have to go through the pile.
The FDNY just posted at this point they have not gotten any reports of any injuries. I'm curious. Obviously, everyone's going to respond. All your departments are going to, units that are nearby, are going to respond to something like this. But do you have a unit that is specific, does specific training when it comes to building collapses and doing the kind of search and rescue that might be required with something like that?
Yes. Rescue 3 is also a collapse unit. They rescue, a regular rescue, but they carry the additional tractor trailer that is a collapse unit, which has all the shoring that they would need, jacks that they would need, and all the equipment that they need for a, what do you call it, collapse situation.
Talk us a little bit through the equipment. Talk us through about that specific equipment that you're mentioning there. What kind of equipment is it?
Well, it's a lot of shoring and jacks to support the areas that might further collapse.
Right.
And they would have also listening equipment to see if there's any kind of noise. If somebody, you know, somebody could be in that pile if they were in those rooms that did collapse.
Right. Jim, when we had the last major collapse in New York City, that garage that collapsed in Lower Manhattan, right around Broadway and Liberty Streets, that killed one person. We saw that the FDNY for the first time used that robotic dog to go in and search the collapsed garage. Do you think that we will see something, that technology being used here, as well as drones? We know that the mayor is a huge fan of those things.
Yes, but it'll be mostly it would be in the collapsed pile, because pretty much the apartments are wide open. The towel ladder did a good look. And also with the fire escape, they could get to the other ends of those apartments. So if there's anybody that's going to be trapped, it's going to be in the big rubble that's at the corner of the building.
Talk also about securing the area. I mean, I just looked at the MTA, and the first report is that the BX40 and the BX42 buses are delayed, probably being redirected due to the activity at the scene there. And I'm only imagining that they have to. You're probably going to want a wide area to secure in case some of that building comes down. How do you make sure? How do you decide how to secure such a situation?
Well, usually with the traffic control, the police will take care of that right away. They'll deal with the MTA about getting buses rerouted. I don't know the area that if there's any kind of subways underneath, they would stop the subways.
Right.
And that train, if there was a train in that area, I do not know, they would just stop the subways completely until they know that everything is safe.
All right, Jim, we do want to let our viewers know that you're looking at live pictures right now. These are our cameras have just arrived there, so you are looking at live pictures. Jim, the one thing that I will say that you have noticed in the last little while since this happened about an hour ago, obviously it's 4:36. It's starting to get dark. So how will that complicate you know, the efforts to secure the building, to make sure that everyone is out of that building, and to account for everyone who may live in that apartment?
There's plenty of lights carried by the FDNY that they'll have and they'll use to keep the area lit. The problem that it's nighttime wouldn't be that much of a problem, because they would have enough lights, and I could see in the apartments now. It's just that one corner that collapsed. It was something. Yeah, there's with the blue helmet. There is you know, a collapsed person there. He's looking to see if there's anybody in the pile.